Welcome to Digestion and Physiology Series 4, Part 1, Digestion of Protein. In this module, we're going to focus on the digestion of protein in feed. What is protein? Very simply, protein is a chain of amino acids put together in variable lengths and combinations to produce a muscle. It can be any type of muscle. It can be skeletal muscle. It can be part of an organ, like a heart, lungs, or liver. It may make up the hooves, for example. There are 20 amino acids involved in the formation of protein in horses. We often talk about the amount of protein in the diet, but why do we need to feed protein? As I said, it's necessary for the formation of various types of muscles. While there are 20 amino acids that make up the muscles, only 10 are classified as essential. The reason they are called essential is because they cannot be made by the horse, so they must be consumed daily. While energy is not lost, it is either stored or used, everything else, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and water, are excreted from the body and lost if not used, and therefore must be constantly replenished. If your horse is on a poor quality protein diet, made up of a lot of the non-essential amino acids, then much will be excreted in the urine. The result will be poor muscle development and possibly muscle wastage, even though your horse may be receiving a lot of crude protein in its diet. The key here is quality, not quantity. Cattle and sheep have similar digestive processes to horses, except that the microbial fermentation component is at the back end of the digestive system for horses, while for cattle and sheep it is at the front. So, for cattle and sheep, when microbes are washed out of the fermentative rumen, they are digested in one of the ruminant stomachs called the abomasum, before being absorbed in the small intestine. In fact, that's how cattle and sheep get most of their protein. For horses, because their microbial fermentative chamber is found at the back end of the digestive tract, any microbes leaving the hindgut are not digested and absorbed, and consequently lost to the horse. Horses cannot use these microbes as a protein source. Therefore, horses must get their protein from the diet, and it must be absorbable in the small intestine. I've mentioned the term essential amino acids and given a brief description of its meaning, being that horses cannot make these amino acids, therefore they must be eaten daily. There are 10 equine essential amino acids, and they are arginine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, valine. Some of these you have probably already heard about, particularly lysine and methionine, as these are what we refer to as limiting essential amino acids. Limiting essential amino acids are those that are usually present in very low concentrations in the feed. Because muscle is made up of lots of protein, which is made up of strings of amino acids, when some of these essential amino acids are very low in concentration in the body, there is limited production of proteins needed to form muscle. The result is poor muscle development in the horse. A good way to think about the impact of these limiting essential amino acids is visualizing a pile of bricks, enough to build a 20-meter high wall, but only having enough mortar to build it to 5 meters high. You can only build that wall to 5 meters high with the other 15 meters of bricks not being used. That's why we refer to them as limiting. When a nutritionist considers the protein in a horse's diet, we need to know how much there is of these limiting amino acids, particularly lysine and methionine, and the younger horses, threonine. And recent research is suggesting branched amino acids such as leucine. When developing diets, we look at the existing concentrations of these limiting amino acids, determine how much more we need to add, and then determine the protein source and quantity. It's important to make sure there are enough of these limiting amino acids in the diet for greater muscle development. But what happens if there's too much or not enough protein in the diet? Horses have developed over thousands of years to deal with lower levels of energy, protein, minerals, and vitamins in the diet. They cope much better with a deficiency than an excess. When there's a deficiency in protein, you usually find that the muscles will start to break down to compensate. As a result, you get less muscle development, even muscle wastage if the deficiency is prolonged. That's because muscles build themselves up, then get broken down, then rebuild on a daily cycle. For a horse that's in a situation where it doesn't have appropriate amounts of protein in the diet, the skeletal and non-essential muscles start to be broken down and not rebuilt, so the body starts scavenging, that is, finding protein from other sources. This is to maintain the vital organs such as the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, digestive tract, etc. Any amino acids scavenged but not used are then excreted from the body via the urine. The other 10 amino acids are classified as non-essential because they can be formed from other components of feed. This means their inclusion in the diet is not essential because the horse's body can make them itself. When there is excess protein in the diet, the excess is broken down into the individual amino acids, a process which requires the use of energy. So if you have a horse with too much protein in its diet, it's going to use up some of its energy reserves just in protein metabolism. That's an energy expense. These same amino acids are decarboxylized, a chemical reaction, with the part of their chemical structure called the carboxylate component being removed. The now decarboxylated amino acids travel through the blood as the toxic chemical ammonia. Ammonia is an acid that reduces the pH of the blood, causing metabolic acidosis. When the pH of the blood is lowered due to the metabolism of nutrients in the body, it is called metabolic acidosis. Increasing the pH of the blood through nutrient metabolism leads to metabolic alkalosis. In the case of excess protein, you're lowering the pH, causing or inducing metabolic acidosis, which is a common factor in the fatigue of horses, particularly performance horses, because the lowering of the blood pH causes many metabolic functions to not work properly. With a high level of ammonia in the blood, it is vital the horse's body removes it, otherwise it will be lethal. The horse's body is designed to flush ammonia out as quickly as possible via the kidneys, resulting in a high concentration of ammonia in the urine. With highly concentrated urine, a stabled horse, particularly one that's boxed for long periods of time with poor ventilation, will inhale these poisonous vapors, greatly increasing the risk of respiratory distress, which can lead to respiratory disease. Your takeaway points from this clip include: protein is made up of a chain of amino acids. There are 20 amino acids that make up protein. 10 of these are considered essential. Essential amino acids are those that cannot be made by the horse and must be supplemented daily. Horses cope better with undersupply than oversupply of protein. Oversupply of protein can result in ammonia production, causing metabolic illnesses. Thank you for watching Equine Digestion and Physiology Series 4 Part 1. If you like what you saw, please give us the thumbs up and share it with your friends. Connect to our website, our EqNC Facebook page and Instagram so as not to miss our next series.